I think we're set up. Bit of an odd one today. As you can see, we're on the Game Awards. I think it's kind of a cliche thing that probably everybody is doing, but I'm here making these videos. We might as well hop on the bandwagon, see how well I can do. Gonna be completely honest with you. There's gonna be a few categories in here that I don't really care too much about. But we're gonna go through every single one naturally. We're gonna save Game of the Year for the end. So we're gonna start all the way down here with the thing with the stuff I know the least about. Best esports team, and we'll work our way up, much like any award show, to see say what I think is probably going to be the best discussion, the best thoughts for the end. So without further ado, let's get into it. Best esports team. Now, I will be honest. I have never been. It's kind of bad to say, especially considering my job position, since I work in the industry. But esports have never really been super big for me. I do. I did follow some Overwatch League for a while, and it's actually how I met a bunch of friends. But outside of that, never been too crazy big. So, looking at the groups here, we're gonna go purely based off of vibes, right? And so, if we're only going off of vibes, no knowledge of anybody. I don't know who any of these people on the teams are. I don't know if there's any controversies for anyone. I think the group that I like the most is gonna probably have to go to Team Vitality. And it's only because I like this dude right here with a little bit of his tummy sticking out. Like, so that's who we're voting for. Number one down. Next category. And by next, I mean previous category. Best esport athlete. Again, don't know anything, don't know anybody. Esport athlete judged to be the most outstanding for their performance and conduct in 2025, irrespective of the game. So I once again know nobody, which is a little surprising for me on this one, primarily because of the Street Fighter characters. For Menard and Kakadu, because I was really, really big into fighting games for a little while. Pre-streaming, I played an absolute metric ton of Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I was one of those people when it first came out that I felt like I was like a little snobbish, like, oh, we're leaving from sprite-based to this ugly 3D models. But honestly, the more I played, the more I kind of came around to it. So I think we are going to give this to. I think we're gonna go to Menard. Just I've had to pick between the two, and I went with the guy that looks looks super chill. Next, best esports game. Oh wow, would you look at that? Again, don't know shit about him, right? All I know is when we do talk about hang on. Best esports game for the game that has delivered the best overall esports experience to players, inclusive of tournaments, community support, and content updates, irrespective of genre or platform. I know I didn't read the first one for like the team, but fuck consume me. We're in the categories I know the least about, and I have like the least amount of investment. So like I'm tempted to start with Counter-Strike 2 just because of how long it has been around. Like I remember playing Counter-Strike like fuck, it feels like in the early 2000s. When it was like the wild west of the internet. Probably before some of you who were watching this are even born, which kind of hurts to think about. Definitely not gonna go to League of Legends or Valorant. Primarily just because like I know Riot's been working on cleaning up their image, especially for their communities. But like the LOL community has just historically been toxic. So while they're getting better, they're not great, and therefore I don't want to give them um, the point, if you will. So we're gonna go with Counter Strike 2. It's a long way to say that's what we're going for. Content creator of the the year. I think you can probably guess who it's gonna go to, but we'll read it. For a streamer or content creator who has made an impact, positive, who made an important and positive impact in the community in 2025. Sage Real, Kai Sinet, Moist Critical, Sakura Mika, or the Burnt Peanut. I think it's impossible to not have heard of at least Kai Sinet. Um, I think what he did with Streamer University was a really, really interesting idea. And assuming that they don't do a second one, I think it probably died before he had a chance to figure out the real problems with it and to make it something long term and positive. So if there isn't a second one, it kind of feels like it was more of like a PR thing than anything. Which, if that's the case, it feels kind of shitty. Moist Critical, I think he's been around since before the dawn of time. It feels like, but without knowing anything, the Burnt Peanut just so stupid. It makes me laugh. So I have to go for that one. Most anticipated game. Now we're getting into things that I know more about and I care about, and I feel like I'm gonna have real opinions on. So recognizing an announced game that has demonstrably illustrated potential to push the gaming medium forward. So here is where I feel like I'm going to start having opinions. I will have not. I know I'm going to have opinions, and I can put forward like real thoughts, real feelings, and go and have a difference between what I think is going to win, what I want to win, and what I think should win. So I have a feeling that hands down GTA 6 is going to win, right? People have been waiting for a new GTA game for feels like decades, like a decade or so at this point. It's such a massive game. Like the GTA series are so massive games that they're $1 billion games in their own right. This game alone, I think, has cost like $2 billion to create, right? That they're essentially, when they get released, they're almost like national holidays. They're national. Everybody's sick and calls into work days. So I feel like GTA 6 is going to win, and I think it's totally fair that it does. 007 First Light with IO Interactive, very interesting because I'm hoping, and I haven't looked up too much about this, because I actually don't watch too many trailers. I don't watch them for movies. I don't really watch them for games because I like to kind of be surprised and go in as blind as I can to these things because I think it makes the game more fun when you don't know shit that's going to happen. That's why I also avoid whenever I'm starting a new game, even if it's late. I never look at like the Kotaku or the Polygon, like 10 things I wish I knew going into whatever. Because fuck it. The 10 things you should know going into any kind of game is nothing, 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 not a goddamn thing, but shouldn't know shit. You should maybe know the type of game, maybe who made it, and what platform it's on, and who published it. And lastly, should be fucking nothing else. Go into the games blind, have fun, see what's there. Like, fucking, it sucks knowing so. At least for me, it sucks knowing going into something what it's all about. But I do know that IO Interactive has a history. This is another thing you should know going to games. 11 things you should know going to games. The last thing should be, what does the studio have a history of making? And not like good games or bad games, but like what type of games. So IO Interactive, massively known for the Hitman series. Hitman franchise is phenomenal. It is one of those sandboxy games where like when you watch people who are good at it versus what like you can do at it, and like when I say you, I mean me, it's like watching two different games. Like I've tried to play the Hitman games before. I remember playing Hitman like 1 and 2 on PC. And I was trash at them. Like I couldn't figure them out. You had to be slow and methodical. I felt, and then and then later, like recent years, you've got like the Hitman trilogy games, you've got like the sort of the episodic games that they've been releasing, and then you watch people that play those, and like, okay, if I'm gonna play this, it's gonna be slow, methodical. It's gonna take me like an hour to do a level. And then you watch like speedrunners and pros, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I just killed like 30 people in 2 minutes, and I didn't get caught once." And you're like, "How the fuck did you do that?" So I hope that the James Bond game is a lot like that. So that'd be cool. Obviously, what I talked about GTA, Marvel's Wolverine, I think has a lot of potential because one, it's Insomniac, and they make phenomenal single player story driven games. I'm curious. Let's see here. We're actually gonna pause real quick up here. Okay, we're back. So I just want to make sure that this is all good. So I don't know why I think it's a mobile game. This was not a fucking mobile game. Um, yeah, this was like Xbox 360, PS2. When did you come out? This came out 2009, so we're gonna be 18 years. No, I'm stupid. Yeah, 18 years. Or shit, 17. It's fucking 17. 17 years probably because it's probably gonna come out next year since this one came out. Um, Raven Software, the people that made this game, and Kryptonite, phenomenal. Oh my god, this game, like the movie, dog shit. Don't get me wrong. This game, so much fun. I still have a copy of this, I think, somewhere. But I need to see if I have it and if I can play it. Uh, because this game was bloody, it was violent, it was brutal, it was super fun. So having another one in the series where we're coming back and we're taking a studio that, you know, like if we look up right Insomniac uh game wiki, right? And we just come down here, right? You've got like Spyro and Ratchet and Resistance are all super fun games. Uh, you've got Sunset Overdrive, which oh my god, I love this game so much. I so wish that they eventually make a sequel to it. Um, but with more recent games like the Spider-Man games, Spider-Man 1 and 2, um, they've really kind of gotten into that like superhero niche with Sony. So I feel like this game is going to be an absolute banger to play. Resident Evil Requiem, obviously Capcom kind of went off the rails for the Resident Evil games once you got past 4 and you were looking at like 5 a little bit, but 6 was absolute just like batshit insanity. You know, fucking was it? You have like 1, 2, you have Veronica and all those others. Like 1, 2, and like 4 are sort of like your holy trinity of Resident Evil games. And even with 4, people are like, I don't know, we're kind of getting away from that survival horror aspect. And you get to 5 with fucking Chris punching a boulder, and you're like, okay, now we're just stupid. And you get to 6 with fucking Wesker's kid and different UIs for everything, and and it's just like it's almost a fucking looter shooter at that point. So we're like, Resident Evil's off the rails, it sucks. Now nobody wants to play it. And they brought it back with Resident Evil 7 and Village. And so it's like we're fucking back, baby. And so I feel like they're really dialing in what a good Resident Evil game is again. Again, that like survival horror stuff. I'm a little sad that we're moving away from zombies and we're in like goop monsters. But I'm also very happy that it's giving them the flexibility to include more monsters, right? Like you have like lichens, you have werewolves, you have the creature from the Black Lagoon, you've got Frankenstein, and all these other creatures in like classic monsters in Village. So I think that's a really cool thing. So I do like that going forward, and I hope they continue with that. Um, and so I think Requiem is really going to be will be tied to whether you're a zombie fan or a like classic was it Universal Monsters fan. And The Witcher 4 is super interesting. Like I've met some of the people that work at CD Projekt Red. I think they're all phenomenal people. Uh, they are like deeply passionate about the games that they make. Um, and I am super psyched for Witcher 4. I played a little bit of Witcher 1. I never beat it. Witcher 2, I had a little bit, but I was like life stuff just didn't let me play a game that long. Witcher 3, I started and I stopped because I kind of got bored with the combat. And then I watched a friend play it for like an hour and a half on a higher difficulty. And it was such a different game from going from like normal to the harder ones where normally you just kind of like press X and you win. But the harder difficulties, you have to like, research the monster you're hunting. You have to go get the right like items to make the right potions. And it was really this kind of like prep game for like, and then turned the monsters into like mini bosses. I thought that was really fun. So playing it that way changed the game for me. And so I'm very excited to see where they go with The Witcher 4. I am still sad that one of the endings of Witcher 3, Ciri makes mention of, I think like metal horses or something, like flying horses. And because Cyberpunk 2077 had been announced at the time, everybody thought we were going to get like a Ciri cameo, or we are going to like find her sword or some shit in Cyberpunk. And I was, was so fucking sad when that never happened. Uh, but anyway, for me, the three games that I'm super psyched for in this list is Witcher 4, Marvel, and Grand Theft Auto. Now, I'm gonna say Grand Theft Auto is gonna win, like hands down. That's not a question. Um, but for me, I've played every GTA game that's come out. I've only beaten like two or three. So I am actually gonna say that for me, Wolverine is what I'm the most excited for. I think for me it goes Wolverine, Witcher 4, Grand Theft Auto. For my personal list, but GTA is gonna win this. It's not even a doubt. Best adaptation, recognizing outstanding creative work that faithfully and authentically adapts a video game to another entertainment medium. Now, this will be a little hard because I haven't seen all of these. However, I have seen, the only one I've seen is Devil May Cry, but we're going to talk about all of them because I am at least aware of all of them. Minecraft movie, it's Minecraft, it's in a movie. My vibe towards the Minecraft movie is this is another one of those like kind of Borderlands movies where everybody signed on to do them during the pandemic, and because we're like we never know this is gonna fucking end. Celebrities were kind of losing their shit and like worrying about like staying relevant and making money and maintaining their lifestyle. They signed on to all this shit when we're all locked inside our houses. And then when the pandemic ended, it's like, well, now you gotta fucking pay up. Like you got the money for it, we paid you. Now you owe us, and so that's why you see Borderlands, you see Minecraft, and I'm pretty sure there's others that I'm just not thinking about right now. But weirdly enough, they both star Jack Black. Devil May Cry. I really enjoyed this on Netflix. I thought it was a really fun adaptation. I liked I liked all the characters. I liked that Dante still mostly feels like Dante, and it's kind of like which version of Dante are you getting? Because while 1 through 5, they're all smarmy, jackassy, showboaty Dantes. They're all vastly different Dantes. Are we getting missile kickflip riding Dante? Are we getting Michael Jackson moonwalking Dante? Are we getting cowboy Dante? And I think this one Devil May Cry did a great job with showing kind of like that you could take this character who is absolutely ridiculous and sort of bring him into this age. I do like that they kind of went with like almost like a Devil May Cry 0, like a bit of a prequel, because he doesn't really know who he is yet, because he doesn't know that he's a Nephilim. Splinter Cell. I think this one is a lot newer. I think this is the newest of all of these to be created. It's up on Netflix. I haven't seen it yet. I've heard good things about it, so I'm excited to watch it. I love that it's old Sam. Uh, so I'm excited to see how that goes. Last of Us season 2. I don't know why I'm up here. I should honestly just be down here so I can highlight them. Um, Last of Us season 2. Uh, I have issues with it, but my issues with it are also the issues that I have with the game, where I really wish you got the choice at the end on what you're going to do at the end of the game. And if I remember right, we don't even get to the end of the game with season 2. Like, I mean this with the utmost disrespect. I don't give a fuck about Abby. So I don't care about her story. I don't want you to humanize her. Um, I get kind of what they were going for, where when we see Joel as the protagonist, as this flawed character, and the decisions he's making, and we're killing all these guys, especially the end of the first game. Um, all those people had families, and so the life that he saved ruined countless others. Sure, it's a great storytelling piece, but I still don't care about it. And there was nothing that they did that made me be like, oh no, I feel so bad for her. Um, Especially because like in this world, in this post, not zombie but zombie apocalypse world, like it is kill or be killed. And so if you are part of some radical group and you are trying to murder a child to harvest her blood so you can make a serum that you believe will save the world, um like no. Like I'm gonna side with Joel every time on that one. And then Until Dawn, my understanding is as the movie, it fucking sucks. Like there's no way this should be up here outside of the fact that you needed 5 categories, because this is not like the game at all. It's not some Wendigo based, murder party thing. It's some absolute other bullshit. So no way Until Dawn should win. Last of Us 2, I'm not even gonna vote for it simply because I don't care about Abby. And I really feel that like if you did all of the first game in one season, splitting this out into multiple seasons feels like you're like doing like the end of like a part 2 of a thing. And I just I don't feel like there's you're giving me a lot of backstory on characters I don't care about. So I'd rather just keep it tight to the characters I do care. Splinter Cell probably would get a vote if I'd seen it. Minecraft isn't going to happen. Again, I feel like this is a corny post-pandemic or pandemic movie, so we're going with Devil May Cry. All right, from here, best multiplayer for outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, and irrespective of game genre or platform. All right, now here's where I feel like we're starting to get into some actual like really interesting um, choices, because this, to me, this category really comes down to is what do you want your multiplayer experience to be, right? With like Arc Raiders, are you that PvE PvP extraction shooter? Are you pure PvP? Are you PvE? Are you PvE? Or are you like a story driven? Because like out of all of these, realistically, Split Fiction plays the most like a single player story driven game that you just happen to play with a partner. Um, and so I think it's interesting that it's in here because it's the most unique out of all of them. Peak, by the way, Split Fiction, the Hazelight Studio guys, like all of their games just absolutely crush it with that kind of like that 2 player, like super like tight creative storytelling. And Split Fiction, I feel like has like when you watch like the end boss fights, the end boss fights, you're just kind of like, what the fuck am I watching? This shit is insane and crazy and cool in the best way possible. Um, Peak Aggro Crab, I loved their previous game, right? I was it a Crab Life, the Crab Souls like game where if you just want to play on easy street, you can literally give your guy a gun. My girlfriend plays Peak a shit ton. I've watched a bunch of videos of people playing it online. I think it's a really kind of cool and interesting PvE game, and I think it kind of like in the Vampire Survivors game. category of like making a lot of idle shooters really popular. Peak did a lot to kind of push forward this kind of like cozy, chaotic multiplayer mess. Um, and also really helped sort of define an art style as well that a lot of these games kind of go through, where you see like RV there yet in a very similar vibe. Elden Ring Night Rain. I love me some good Souls game. Things, yeah, I love me some good Souls games. Um, and this is up there with that kind of experience. I think the characters are all really unique. I think the idea of going to classes is really fun. Um, I have issues with the game primarily in the fact that it is not cross-platform. So I hate that even though I got friends who are playing it on PC, I can't play with them. Um, so I really don't like that. I'm not a big fan of the fact that if somebody drops out early, it doesn't scale the game because of that. Because if you play like single player, all the enemies have less health. I think they do less damage as well. And so it's up to 3 players, right? And for each additional person you add, the enemies get more health and you do more damage. Totally fine with that, right? Because if you're all max level, you're outputting way more damage than you would do as a single player person. But if you're playing and somebody drops out either because of a connection issue, which I had a lot of those, um, or they're just a bitch and they died a bunch and then they rage quit, you're still stuck at that like higher tier difficulty, which is really, really rough. So I wish that the game would adapt based on the amount of people that are currently in the game, as well as let you play with other people. Um, so, yeah, Battlefield 6, right? We're talking a return of like that OG massive multiplayer, just a ridiculous trick shot video game. And the Battlefield series is one that I've never really gotten into, which is weird because like I played some of the like spiritual predecessors with like the Tribes and Tribes 2 games, um, which were also like massive multiplayer, just like team-based shooters. But this one just never Battlefield series never really got to me. But I do like that they took a stand as a game, as a studio, and like we're not going omnidirectional sprinting, we're not going the Call of Duty route. We're keeping this a little more grounded, a little more realistic, while you still have guys doing jump seat trick shots out of airplanes. Then Arc Raiders, the mobile game not the mobile, the multiplayer game that is sweeping the internet right now, that's sweeping Steam and Twitch. That I think what fucking Shroud is being like, we gotta make this game win. I am here for updates and evolutions of the extraction shooter. Um, I feel, and I haven't played it. Right, it's not a game that's like really calling to me. Um, I do know that I've seen, I've talked to some people that do play it, and I've seen some comments, and it's like, why would I go into why would I deploy to any maps with anything outside of a free loadout because they're worried about losing the gear that they have? So I wish that our creators would let you, like, let's say you have a backpack or an inventory of 10 items. I wish you could like have like whatever your top 5 are essentially be locked, where even if you die, you get them back. They kind of come home with you. Uh, uh, so I'm not gonna go for Arc Raiders, but that's just because I guess let me rephrase this. I feel that Arc Raiders is gonna win best multiplayer game. That's my guess. I think really it comes down to Arc Raiders and Battlefield 6. These are the two that I feel are like probably the top contenders. But for me, as someone who is like a story nerd, a lore nerd, I fucking love me some single player story driven content. Like like I've been fucking Cyberpunk earlier. We talked about like Witcher. Um, when I was playing when I play the GTA games, and I really get into the story with those. Fuck, even the Souls games that have this massive storytelling experience just through the world. For me, I gotta vote for Split Fiction. I think just sort of the end of the game, the sort of evolution of the characters, the end of the game, and the homages to so many classic and iconic games throughout this game is why I wanted to. Best sports and racing. Oh boy, this is another one that I don't really have. I have much of a, I don't have much of an opinion on. Just because it's a series that I've never really gotten much into. But for the best traditional and non-traditional sports and racing games, we have EA Sports Football Club 26, F1 25, Mario Kart World Rematch, and Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. I do like that there's two soccer games in here, two football games, and it's really dependent on whether you want to have a rematch with like a lighter kind of more fun based match, like lighter, more fun based game with less people, less direct control, as well as like they're indoor studios or indoor games. You can like bounce them off the wall above the uh, goal, or if you want like that real world simulation, and that's what you get with like the football club and F1. Um, Interesting that I didn't realize that F1 was done by EA as well. So we have two EA. Mario Kart World, obviously the evolution of the iconic Mario Kart franchise. The introduction of like was it the straight races or whatever they're called? They're not laps. I forgot the name of them. Uh, and then Sonic Racing Crossroads, which is like done surprisingly well in the scene. Um, for me, I'm, and this is actually kind of a surprise for me because I was super psyched for Mario Kart World. Uh, but I just I haven't really been grabbed by it. I don't have a Switch 2 that and that helps. But like when I'm watching them play the game, and I see Mario Kart World and Sonic Racing up there, because I'm gonna tell you right now, it's none of the sports games, right? None of these are gonna get picked. At least not for me. I'm really between Mario Kart and Sonic. So the classic rivalry, Mario versus Sonic. Um, it's wild for me because I will watch a Mario Kart video if I know it's somebody who will probably rage at the game, primarily for like knockout tour. I will watch a Sonic video, because I really like the level designs because they give big. They feel more like Diddy Kong Racing than Mario Kart does, which is weird because I'm saying the non Nintendo game feels more like an old Nintendo game than the modern Nintendo game. Um, so I'm gonna go for Sonic Racing. I suspect though that EA Sports Football Club is probably gonna win this. Uh, but again, this is one that I don't have much of an investment in. Best sim and strategy game. Now here I have thoughts and opinions. Um, so best game focused on real time or turn based simulation or strategy gameplay, irrespective of platform. Final Fantasy Tactics, the um, Evolice Chronicles, Jurassic World Evolution 3, Sid Meier's Civ 7, Tempest Rising, The Alters, and Two Point Museum. I don't know everything about some of these games. I don't really know anything about The Alters, although it does look like it's all about clones, which is kind of interesting. Tempest Rising is giving me big XCOM vibes, and I do know about the others. So we're gonna work our way through them. We'll start a 2 Point Museum. The 2 Point games I think are really fun and interesting because they kind of took the sim, like the management sim formula, and revitalize it for a little bit of a modern age. And you've always had these sim games since like fuck, uh, Sim City, right? The original Sim City, which came out forever and a day ago, and I'm not gonna look it up because that one's actually gonna hurt my soul. Um, and then they've gotten more serious, they've gotten more lighthearted. It kind of died for a little while. Then you had like the Sims, which is sort of like the simulation, like the sim game. It's called The Sims. Uh, and but like the 2 Point games came out and they made it a little more lighthearted, a little more fun, and they made it a little more interactive by adding in like they took sort of the larger scale sim games and like the Zoo Tycoon type games and made it a fun, like goofy revitalization and sort of a spin-off. So I like that. Alters I honestly can't talk about. I don't know anything about it. Uh, but it looks like it could be kind of fun. It looks like it's all about controlling clones and sort of a could be interesting. Tempest Rising, again, I don't know much about this one, but again, I'm getting big XCOM kind of vibes from it. The XCOM games are really fun, but I've never really gotten like super deep into like the story of it. Civ 7, boy, those Civ games, they could take a while. But if you are that kind of like 4X person and you're all about, what is it, explore, expand, exploit, and was it exterminate or something? Execute, something like that. This is like the game for you, right? No doubt about it. Jurassic World Evolution. If you like Zoo Tycoon, but you wish you had dinosaurs, there you go. Super easy. This is the one I'm gonna vote for, hands down, no questions asked. I deeply love Final Fantasy Tactics. When it first came out, the fact that this is here again feels a bit interesting. Um, Primarily because like these are all new games, or sequels, but they're all still new. And while this is a new game, it's a re-release of an old game. But it's an old game that I really, really enjoyed. And the reason I'm gonna vote for this one, let's get that vote locked in and out of the way, is because uh out of all of these, again, minus the alters, because I don't know anything about it, Final Fantasy Tactics is the game that has the best story. It's got the best story, it's got the best lore, it's got those moments that like when it first came out and you would like discover somebody, you would like and like fucking go crazy and shit. Because like fucking Cloud's the game. I mean, this came out shortly after Final Fantasy VII. So and I think after Kingdom Hearts 2 when Cloud was in there. So you're getting these like crazy crossover between like Final Fantasy games, which only ever really happened with Sid, the character. And even then, Sid would be like a different version of him and everything. But this is like, it's fucking Cloud, and you can recruit him, and you can use the Buster Sword, and it was like so crazy. And you would like talk to your friends about it, and they would be like, I didn't even know he was in there. And you tell them about the quest line you go through to get him. Um, and so I gotta vote for it. Like I think it's a great like strategy game, and I think it's really interesting in how it kind of like took like the tactics ogre, Fire Emblem-y feel of a lot of these kinds of older games, and sort of like added a bunch of stuff to it. And I believe it was also really where Final Fantasy got into the habit of pushing jobs. Like you had jobs before, even back to the first game with like fighter, white mage, red mage, um, black mage, and thief. Uh, but it really expanded and pushed him out, and I think that was a great evolution of the series and something that was a pivot point going forward, where you got to see the expansion of the classes, and you can see kind of how these changed and mutated the game series as a whole, going into like Final Fantasy 11, and like was it all the 10 spin-offs and 13 and 14. So that's why I'm voting for its pivot point in the series. What I think is going to win, however, that's a tough one. Um, I'm going to guess is going to be Civ, just because Civ is such a classic series. So I'm going to guess that. But I don't. Best family game. The best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform. Donkey Kong Bonanza, Lego Party, Lego Voyagers, Mario Kart World, Sonic World, Sonic Racing Crossroads, and Split Fiction. Fuck no, not Split Fiction. Um, I don't think so. If I'm thinking about a game that I want to play with family and kids, Split Fiction is not going to be it. We already talked about it. It's a great single player, story driven game, but this shit gets hard near the end. And and it deals with a lot of emotional and like storytelling and like senses of self-worth that I think might go over like a younger kid's head. So no, not going to be this one. Sonic Cross World, Sonic Racing, and Mario Kart World. I think are both fun. I think they'd be great. They're great family games. Um, but I don't think they do anything that's super innovative and interesting. Um, that I think would be super fun to play as a family. Lego Voyagers, I think is interesting. I don't have a lot of context on it. I know more about every other game on here. Um, I've seen a little bit of it, and it looks like it's fun. I think this would be a great kind of like kids game to play, but not something that like I'm super duper into. And I think it's one of those things where unless you're a Lego kid, this might not be like super interesting to you. From there, Lego Party. I think Lego Party is, it's fine, it's fun. It is another party game, so you're talking about a Mario Party esque thing. Okay. Dunk Kong Bonanza, which is what I'm going to vote for and what I think is going to win too, is because it it takes like a lot of the fun stuff of like Super Mario Odyssey, and you're like, okay, hear me out. For Mario Odyssey, change the way we did Mario, with Cappy and everything. What if we took that, applied it to Donkey Kong, and made the entire level destructible? And there you go. And so I think out of all of these games, this is the one that I feel is the most like kind of family fun, has the most longevity. Um, it's lighthearted enough that it's not going to be dealing with some deep, heavy, like emotional things like sense of self worth and proving yourself to your family that Split Fiction does. Um, and it's also bright, colorful, and it's got some goofy enough goofiness in it that I think like kids will really dig it too. So that's what we're going with. Best fighting game. The best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat. 2XKO, Capcom Fighting Collection 2, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, and Virtual Fighter 5 Revo World Stage. This one, hmm, this one's a little hard. Um, Primarily because for me, it's all about like these middle three. But there's a lot of bias between them. So Virtual Fighter 5, it's great to see the Virtual Fighter franchise like coming back and having a presence. Um, but even when we talk about like the amount of impact that I'm seeing online, like I'm just not seeing a lot for Virtual Fighter 5. And honestly, same with the Legacy Collection. Like I've kind of forgot that it even came out. Um, I love me some classic Mortal Kombat. I remember, you know, I'm old enough to remember when this was like in the news, when Mortal Kombat was in the news for being bloody and violent and making our kids homicidal. Uh, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, I think it's a great, improvement on the series. I do miss the old, no, was it Fatal Fury that Terry Bogard first showed in, or was it King of Fighters? I think it was actually Fatal Fury. So yeah, I'm glad we're back to Fatal Fury. Um, I still remember Bogard with like the red high tops, and like the star like denim vest with like the red trucker hat, and then you had Cedar Growl, which was like a great like modernization of his look and his style with like the leather jacket and everything. And I know that this is like going great. They just recently had like the Chung Li Street Fighter collab crossover event or crossover. Sorry, guest character. Capcom Fighting Collection 2. Like this is such a pivotal collection of fighting games. So it feels like a little weird to be in here because like Collection 2 and Combat Legacy are all like, we're gonna take your old classic games that everybody loves and everybody wants, and we're gonna re-release them and we're gonna modernize them a little bit, primarily by like updating netcode and getting them usable on modern consoles. So it feels like a little bit like cheating because you're playing on the nostalgia factor. Yeah, you can see Fatal Fury there on the hat. And then you have 2XKO, where it's so wild to see, and I think it's a great thing that Riot did, of like taking their iconic League of Legends game and branching it out into a bunch of different genres, different styles, where you can, kind of say like, sure, you can play the original, you can play League of Legends, all your characters, but if you want to have a more, story-driven experience, you can play the Ruined King by Airship Syndicate. You can play 2XKO if you want to have that fighting game style and you want to see how these characters do in a one-on-one. But I think, even just thinking about the amount of stuff I see online, I'm gonna go with the Capcom Fighting Collection 2. But I feel like, what I think is gonna win. I think that, I think, honestly, I think the Fighting Collection might win too. It's between these three that I feel is what's gonna win. But I think this might win because this is like, I feel it's got like the most attention and the most love. But I think if I had to like order it, I think it's gonna be 1, 2, 3 for your probably your winner. Best RPG. Well, I can tell you what I'm picking. For the best game design with a rich player character customization, progression, including massive multiplayer experiences. Go ahead and lock my vote in right away. I think that in almost every category that Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is going to be in, I think it's going to win. And I know this feels like a little bit like I'm cheating because like the Golden Joystick Awards came out, but my counterpoint is that I played this game months ago. I fucking loved it. 100% of the game. I think I have like 100+ hours into it. I got all the endings. I fucking cried multiple times. And that is a game that I don't think any of these other games are going to do. I played through Avowed. It's fine. It's a good game. It's a solid, Elder Scrolls spin-off kind of game. It didn't do anything super amazing. It didn't like hold me as much. It felt like it would be a game that would be super duper great and fun and cool, and would be like game of the year stuff. It was released 10 years. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Kingdom Come Deliverance games, I know like the first one had some controversy about like a lack of diversity in the game, and the developers pushed back by saying they're trying to keep it historically accurate. I think they're fun games, they're good games, but I don't think they're anything super crazy. Monster Hunter Wilds, nobody plays this for the story. Nobody plays it for the RPG aspect, right? No one's like, oh my god, my experiences. No, you play this because you want to get with your friends, you want to all dress up as fucking Akuma, and you want to hit every monster with a fucking was it Demon Rush? Fuck is his the die 1000 deaths. You want to hit every monster with that. Outer Worlds 2, it's a fun kind of space Skyrim. Their games, Fallout, very big Fallout vibes. And like I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be glazing the fuck out of Expedition 33 in this video. If you don't like that, I'm sorry, but I think as far as like surprise hits goes, like I started this game not expecting much. Honestly, I was just like, well, it's free. So, and I have Game Pass, so let's try it out. And it became a game that I fell in love with. I fell in love with the world, the music, the characters. Like, and it was a game like the more I played, the more I wanted to know, the more I wanted to experience, the more I wanted to do. So I think, like, I hope this hits the Lord of the Rings treatment and it just fucking sweeps. Best action adventure game. For the best action adventure game, combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. This one's gonna be. This is I think my first kind of hard one. This is where I'm gonna have conflicting feelings. Death Stranding 2 on the beach Like if you're like a Kojima nerd, you're gonna glaze that motherfucker like I'm gonna glaze Stick Expedition 33. That's gonna be your choice for everything it's in, and I get it. I don't blame you. Kojima games are wild and crazy and fun, and when it hits, it hits. But if it doesn't hit with you, then it's just ugh, so ugh. Um, and I actually played a decent amount of Death Stranding one. I don't remember if I recorded any of it or not. Um, and by a decent amount, I mean I 100% the tutorial area, and then I was like, okay, that's enough. I never got farther. Uh, so I can't really talk much about that one. Ghosts of Yote, Sucker Punch Studios make great games, all about the single player story driven content that I love. I'm gonna get around to playing it eventually. I just don't have the PlayStation, my PS5 set up yet. Um, but as a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, I'm sorry, it's a prequel, I believe. Uh, I'm very excited to get to it. I think they do great work, making games feel kind of like grounded and realistic and fun. I'll be very curious to see how they treat it, especially uh, having a female protagonist in there. Love that Erika Ishii is the voice actress. I think she's phenomenal whenever I see her on Dropout. Uh, Hollow Knight Silk Song, for like 40 hours into it, I think, when I finally finish it off. Uh, I think it's probably going to be what I'm going to vote for, but I have I have conflicts internal. I think it's a phenomenal improvement and adaptation, not an adaptation, evolution of the first Hollow Knight game, going from the Knight to Hornet. Uh, I do feel, I know that it's a lot harder than the first game, and since there's no difficulty slider, it can be really, really hard to get to that true ending, um, even with like your best builds. Because when you're at that end stage stuff and enemies are hitting you for like 2 to 4 health pips a time, and it's not just like the boss for the big move like it is for the first one, but you're talking like normal jobbers. It can feel a little bullshitty and kind of hard, um, and a little unfair at some points. And trust me, if you're there, I get it. Uh, but if you can't get through, you can always watch the playthrough on my YouTube channel. Right here, baby. Beyond that, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Holy shit! What a great way to do indie. Um, the setup of having and kind of be like a recreation of the first movie, the opening scene of Raiders of the Lost Ark, to kind of let you know like we're doing indie right, kind of get you the feeling and the vibe, and then spinning off into their entirely own unique story was great. I think the story fits right in the world of indie. Um, it's in that nice, neat pocket of like, historical accuracy and truths versus, um, mythological and spiritual beliefs. Uh, Getting away from things like the Crystal Skull, and even the Dial of Destiny, really, and taking it back to really kind of classic indie with again, Where's the Lost Ark? The Last Crusade, where you look for the Cup of Christ. The first one is the Ark of the Covenant, and here with what you end up looking for, which I'm not going to talk too much about. If you haven't played the game, that's another game where 100% playthrough of that game is up on this channel, um, except for the DLC. I still need to play that, but that's coming. Um, I was a little hesitant because I'm like, how are you gonna like the people that made it, Machine Games, right? They do Wolfenstein, they do Doom, they do I don't know if they do Doom, but they did Wolfenstein. They do these like kind of you know again, more Nazi killing games. And there's nothing wrong with that, but very very much shooter games. You're not doing Indiana Jones whips and puzzles and shit. And I think they did a great job with it. There's even little touches in some of the cutscenes where it's like this feels like this wasn't made by someone that's just doing a job. This feels like someone who loves classic indie movies and like cinematography, and then they used modern ways to recreate some classic cinematography things. Also, the main villain, oh, chef's kiss. He is amazingly talented at both being funny and a dork and an absolute fucking prick and evil as shit. And then it's a little hard to see. You see that guy right there, that black guy right there? Um, fucking Tony Todd, late great Tony Todd, does a great job voice acting in this game. And Split Fiction, I know I've already talked about it before. An absolute great game, great story, great level design. This one's hard because like all three of these games I think are amazing and deserve the vote. Uh, but I feel like I want Indiana Jones to win. This is the one I want to win. I think that like for what they delivered and to manage to make a game in 2025 that feels right at home with movies that were made in the 80s is great. But I mean, Silksong's gonna win, like no doubt about it. You know this game is gonna win when it gets casually dropped, $20. Again, I put 40 hours into it just to get to like the final true ending. Um, and you had other indie developers bitching about how it is unfair to just kind of casually drop a game like this. Like it's the sort of indie equivalent of a nuclear bomb, um, and have it just completely like overshadow their games. Looking at you, was a Hell is Us, uh, but yeah, this is gonna win. No doubt about it, no question. But I'm voting for indie because I still want that one to win. Best action game. The best game in the action genre focused primarily on combat. Battlefield 6, we talked about it earlier, right? Massive multiplayer, sort of grounded real time shooter. Doom the Dark Ages, 100% playthrough of that is also up on this channel. A really interesting take. I'm not going to talk too much about the story because if you haven't played it, I think it's really fun. I think id Software, but yeah, it does do Doom. Machine Games does Wolfenstein. Uh, id Software does a great job expanding on what they did with Doom and then Doom Eternal, adding a bunch more lore and story to it. We'll talk about some of the flaws with it in a second. Hades 2, Supergiant Games. Almost every game that Supergiant Games does is a game that I just like passionately love. Hades 1 is amazing. Um, uh, oh my god, I am. I like own so much stuff, and the fact that I can't think of it right now is kind of embarrassing. Fucking Bastion. I own Bastion in like legitimately I think four different like modes. I think I own it on Xbox 360, Xbox One, um, Switch, and PlayStation. I think. Transistor, I bought on I want to say on the Switch, and I loved it. Transistor is such a great game, and I wish this would come to Xbox Series X because I would play the fuck out of it again. Um, and like both Bastion, I mean, all the games have great music too, but Bastion and Transistor have such good like Bastion is just it's such a creatively done game. Like having the narrator kind of talk about what you do, um, and the music is so great. And like when there is vocals, they're just like soulful and sad, and it feels like someone who is lamenting a world that doesn't exist anymore. And in Transistor, like the vocals are so good, and again they're soulful, they're sad, but these feel like someone who is lamenting the loss of a love and a life that they don't have anymore. I'll do Pyre, the one game I never really got into. I think it's because it was a sport because it was a sports game. Hades, great game as well. Zagreus' story is super cool and interesting and fun, and they did a great job kind of mixing up all of your Greek gods, and bringing in a lot of sort of iconic Greek monsters as well. Um, Medusa is adorable, absolutely adorable. I haven't played Hades 2 yet though, so I can't talk anything about it. But I'm assuming it's just an evolution of the first game, so it's going to be another great story, great development, um, and fucking hot. Like Zagreus is hot, she's hot, all the gods are hot. Like it's just a game full. Their game's full of hotties. Uh, Ninja Gaiden 4, I need to play it. It's on Game Pass. It's gonna get played eventually. But classic kind of like holy shit hard games. That when you beat a boss, you're just like, fuck yes. Um, and then the new Shinobi game that I think dropped super recently. Like it just kind of came out. And I don't know if I'm gonna play that one. I never really got too big in the Shinobi games when I was younger. But we'll see. I've got enough. I have enough shit in my backlog that I would like to get to it, but I don't know if I'm going to. But I'm going to have to give. Ooh, by the way, I just realized it's dark as fuck. Give me 1 second. Be right back. I cannot believe it's been already over an hour. I've been talking. I was hoping to be done in about an hour. So, you know what we're gonna do though? We are going to there we go. Just make this shit a little bit brighter, a little more normal. Hang on. I'm fucking pale as fuck. Did I realize that? Ugh. Hang on. Gotta get a try to get a light that doesn't make me look like I'm fucking ghoulishly pale like I actually am. Um, fuck it, that'll work. You know what? This doesn't really matter. It's all about oh fuck those games right there. But all right, back to the games. Yeah. Uh, yeah, what am I gonna pick? So I want it to be Doom: The Dark Ages so bad because, like I said, 100% of this game, I thought it was really fun. I love the evolution. I love the shield. I love the things that they did with it. The melee weapons are super fun, which is weird to say that there's melee weapons in a Doom game outside of the chainsaw, but there are, and they're great. Um, I think the story is actually really interesting and really fun. But my problem with it, the reason that it's not going to get my vote, but it's not going to Battlefield 6, and it's not going to Shinobi. All about the middle three again. Um, is there are some levels that are genuinely kind of boring, and it's a shame because there are some levels where I am fucking riding like a techno organic dragon, and they should be like the most fucking badass things you can possibly imagine. And when you first hop on that thing, you're like, yeah. And then you realize that they're actually really boring as fuck when you get into the combat because the dragon looks really cool, the like riding it looks really dope. It's basically like a techno organic cyber dragon motorcycle fighter jet. Who wouldn't want to fucking ride that? But unfortunately, the combat with it is really boring. So can't be that. Um, Hades 2 is what I think is gonna win, and it's actually what I'm gonna vote for as well. Primarily just because Ninja Gaiden 4, I know that these games, like I said, I really like them because they're intentionally hard, they're difficult games. And when you're in the flow, you're in the flow and you feel like an absolute badass. But when you're not in the flow, you just feel like an absolute dumbass. Um, and But the main thing that I think you get with Hades 2 that you probably don't get with these other games is that like ability, that replayability to the point of, I can change my build and it's a completely different vibe than, what I was doing before with the gods that I choose. I know you can do that obviously with your Lotus in Battlefield 6. Like I I really love watching videos of people play the medic in Battlefield 6 and just run around and revive their teammates. But I'm voting for Hades 2, and that's what I think was going to win the category as well. Best AR VR for the best game experience playable in virtual or augmented reality, irrespective of platform. I know nothing about any of these games. Like, and I'm not even shitting you. I don't know. I don't even know any of the studios. know anything about any of the games. So we're going to go purely based off of vibes. And there's a few that I really like. We're going to get rid of Ghost Town just because it looks semi-generic. We're going to get rid of Arcane Age because I don't know anything about it. And, sure, it's like a, evil Groot. We're going to look at Alien, Rogue Incursion because I love Alien movies. Marvel's Deadpool VR, and the Midnight Walk. I'm guessing this is gonna win. So, and it's kind of what I'm picking to win. But I don't know anything about any of them. I just really love. I love the old Deadpool game. I own it. I need to see about getting my old Xbox out so I can play it. But I think out of these that I'm looking at, the three that I'm interested in is Deadpool, the Midnight Walk because it kind of looks creepy and weird, and Alien because Alien there's a lot of potential in a really good Alien game, depending on whether you want to go like classic Alien, non-plural movie, where you have a singular entity that is almost like an unstoppable, unkillable force, a lot like Alien, was it Incursion or Insurrection, whatever it is, the one that's on modern consoles, the survival horror game where you're all outcast, or you're going Aliens plural, which if I remember it is an allegory for Vietnam. And it's this never-ending battle against a countless horde of monsters. Looking at the photo here, I think it's probably more Aliens than Alien, but I still think it's got a lot of cool potential. But it's Deadpool. If done right, it's gonna be fucking awesome. Best mobile game for the best game playable on a mobile device. Good news is looking at here. None of these are for the thing I work for, so I don't have to worry about it. But Destiny Rising, Persona 5, The Phantom X, Sonic Rumble, Uma Musume, Pretty Derby, and Wuthering Waves. I know nothing about any of these games. I mean, I know Destiny, I know Persona, I know Sonic, and I know I've heard of Uma Musume as the anime, not the game. I don't know shit about Wuthering Waves. They want to give it to Destiny, but I'm not going to. I think what I'm gonna go for is honestly Pretty Derby. Just because I do like I haven't watched the anime yet. It's on my backlog of things to watch. But the idea of, a horse girl anime makes me laugh. So that's what we're going for. I don't have much to say about this one. I apologize if you were expecting more, but that's what we got. Best debut indie game. Wait. For the best debut game created by a new independent studio. Now, I will say I do know, sort of in the same vein that people bitched about Team Cherry dropping Silk Song. People have bitched about Expedition 33 being in the indie game category, because they're talking about not fair because it's like a multi-million-dollar game. There's no way that like Despelote can compete with this. They've got Kepler Interactive as a publisher. I think was it Kepler also. I think they own Subnautica as well, I believe, and some other like game studios. But and this feels reminiscent of kind of looking back and people arguing that Dave the Diver shouldn't be in the indie game categories. It's really up to you on how you want to define an indie game. And that is a completely fair statement. Like if you look at all of these, right? Blueprints is published by Raw Fury. Expedition 33 is by Kepler. Despelote is by that was a Panic. And then Dispatch is the only one that doesn't have a publisher. So you could make an argument that the only one of here that is truly an indie game, you consider an indie game to be a game that is developed and published by like uh, a single person without or a single studio without any kind of like large money oversight. The only one that might fit that category would be Dispatch, and that's a fair argument to make. Um, I still don't really know how I would define an indie game. Um, my general feel though on how I described indie game is it is a like here. Let me see if I can try and define it live with you. Uh, how many studios worked on 33? One single core studio. Um, that's kind of a little bit more where I kind of like look at um an indie game. It's a game that it's not like a Call of Duty game that has been made by like 10 different studios. And there's thousands of people that work on it and they all kind of contribute um to the overall experience. This is a game that is made by a small dedicated group of people. It is developed almost fully in-house. And it's got a uh I guess you could say like a total like employee count of less than X amount. I'd probably say less than like a couple hundred. Um, 30 people. That to me feels a lot like an indie game. Like less than 100 people worked on this game. Um, so yeah, I can see where you can make an argument that shouldn't be there, but if you're talking about a game that was made by less than 100 people, and it's not, it doesn't have a bunch of other sub studios contributing to it, even though if it was published by a bigger studio, it still, to me, counts as an indie game. That's what I'm going for. And that's what I think is going to win too. I think the only thing that comes close to this would probably be Dispatch because I'm seeing a lot of love for that right now. And I want to get to playing it eventually. But I think these are the two big contenders. Blueprints is in there for sure as a contender because I know like that game blew up for a while. Um, but I feel like Expedition 33 is going to win because not only did it blew up when it came out, it had like a little bit of a sizzle when it came out, then it blew up, and then it just it just keeps exploding with more and more. Um, so and with the was it Ben Starr's I think uh award speech at the Golden Joystick, I feel like highlighting like the the layoff problem that this industry has. Feel like there's enough renewed attention that is going to get more and more and more. Uh, best independent game. Well, that again. Um, outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system. So, I think there's a lot of interesting things here based on how you want to define this. Um, independent game, best debut. Oh, these are all like the first studio. Yeah, I think if I forgot that this is debut. For debut, I really think it's these two. Uh, Blueprints is really fun. I think it's a really creative first run, but I think these two are probably, in my opinion, the most interesting. All right, for independent, it's weird that Fetch isn't here, but I guess it is kind of more of like a visual novel, all a Telltale game. Uh, Absalom, I can't really talk about. I haven't played it. I've seen some sponsored content for it though, and it looks like a really really fun game. Ball Pit, I did love. I 100% of that, which is also on the channel. I'm gonna go watch that. It's kind of a weird 100% playthrough though because I played a little bit at the beginning. I streamed it. I had some family shit happen, so I didn't play it on stream, but I played it because it was like a nice game to shut my brain off. And then I was like, well, I kind of want to put a whole playthrough up because I don't know how many people have seen the end of it. Because a lot of the content that I watched of it was a lot of people who hadn't even beaten the base game, and they were kind of playing like the like third or fourth level and you never actually saw the ending. So I was like, well, fuck it, I'll do a New Game Plus playthrough of it, and I'll breeze through the whole thing in one stream. And then I realized you had to beat each level and get 8 gears before you can unlock the next level. So I had to beat each level 4 times because you could play with 2 people per level, and that really extended it. But it was still fun. But Ball Pit, I think, is a great evolution of Brick Breaker. Combining Brick Breaker with a roguelite kind of game was really, really fun, really interesting, and I really like the over the top story that comes with it. Blueprints, again, super fun. I like me some good puzzle games. Not on the channel, and I think it's just because it falls in the kind of category of like Myst and The Witness, which nothing wrong with those games, but I can be dumb as shit. So not something for me. Expedition 33, we've talked about enough. I don't really feel need to talk about too much more about it, except for as talking about a creative and technical achievement part. It's I feel, and this is kind of like a weird thing to say for me for the game, but it really feels like a 2.5 A game, like a double game. It's a 2.5 because it's not AAA where you're like got this massive stuff, and you can definitely feel where like some levels they're small, they're fixed camera angles, intentionally, so you don't need to make too much stuff, and they can reuse some assets. Um, but like what they did to make things hit, and they fucking hit hard. Some of the animations are great. The sound design is great. The music when it swells, you legitimately feel it like in your soul, in the back, and the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. Hades 2 is another great example of a game that is like taking something and improving on it, and expanding on it. And Silksong, same thing. I know that I think Team Cherry even mentioned, they were like, yeah, the reason it took so long is we kept having people go, oh, what about this? And what about this? And what about this? And everything just elevated the game. It made it better and better and better. And, Silksong, like all the different crests that change the way you attack and how you heal is a great improvement. Because, when I played it and I did my playthrough of it, I was like, oh man, I really want to use this crest, but like the boss doesn't really work with how this one heals, so I need to switch over to this other one that I like using because this is more aligned with what I need to use to beat the boss rather than this other one. I think it's a great improvement. But out of all of these, I feel that like if I look at what is going to be a pivot point and an inflection point for games going forward, again, just gonna keep glazing it. It's gonna be Expedition 33. Best community support. Recognizing game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates and patches. So, Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, and No Man's Sky. This one is hard because I feel like all 5 of these games could easily win this category. Right? No Man's Sky has been around, it feels like forever. It's gotten so many updates, and the game has changed so much because of those updates that it's impossible to not to consider it. Helldivers 2, what they've done with, was it Craig, I think, is like their game master, and Super Earth and all the stuff they did, and the tongue and cheekiness of their humor and their narrative design, and the fact that it's a Starship Troopers homage to like a dystopian kind of world, where if you watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, it all feels like there is no war on Boston. Say, they've even been like they've literally been screenshots of players showing like in the background like a flying bug, and then the studio and even like I think the CEO of the studio would be like, Super says there are no such things as flying bugs, and anyone who says that is a traitor. And then like the next patch that comes out, there are flying bugs. So I love the kind of meta context of that. Fortnite, like Fortnite is the metaverse that Meta wanted to make. Fortnite is the game that, to my sadness, isn't the game I wanted. I was personally really, really excited for the original version of Fortnite that's supposed to come out. That sort of zombie horde PVE base building mechanics. When the battle royale was just a free add-on to make some money and sell some skins while they worked on the base game, and then obviously just blew up the battle royale scene, and became what it is. And good on them for recognizing it. Good on Epic Games for all the kind of like meta stuff that they pulled, like even fighting Apple on the Apple Store. Like there is no way in hell that they didn't have that planned for months, because you don't make a move like that and then have that Fortnite um, throwback to that one of those original Apple commercials, with when they had the banana guy running down and he threw the pickaxe at the screen, because that is a classic Apple commercial, to get you away from PCs and to get you away from Windows and onto Apple, uh, and have that like ready to like throw in their face, and to show that like the tables have turned. Genius, very much planned. Final Fantasy 14, right? Just the game, was it came out, tanked at launch. They apologized and they revitalized it, redid it, brought it back from the dead, and now it's a gangbusters game, right? It's up there. Like I've got friends that stopped playing WoW to play Final Fantasy 14. And then Baldur's Gate 3 is like Larian Studios has been doing so much stuff, and like oh my god, and they got fucked so hard by like Hasbro, uh kind of like just sort of dropping their asses, with some of the stuff that they did afterwards, um and some of the bullshit that they pulled. Uh so it's hard to know which one to vote for. Like so many of these could win. My vote, what I want to win, is Larian Studios. I feel like what they did with um, support for Baldur's Gate 3, and like a lot of the updates and stuff, I think was really good. I think they handled some of the rough patches really, really well. And they did a phenomenal job. But I want to win. So for me, what I want to win is either Baldur's Gate 3 or Helldivers 2. Um, I'm gonna guess that Helldivers 2 is gonna win though. I think No Man's Sky has done great. I think Fortnite's done great. I think Final Fantasy 14 has done great. But I think that I'm actually going to change my vote. I'm changing my vote to Helldivers 2. I talked myself out of Baldur's Gate 3, partially because I don't know when all the Baldur's Gate 3 stuff happened. Just because it's been a fucking long ass year. And get rid of it. I don't need anymore. But I think Helldivers 2 has been absolutely crushing with their social media campaigns and with their updates. So that's why we're getting that. Best ongoing game. Awarded to a game pressing development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, Marvel Rivals, and No Man's Sky. I only played two of these, and it's these two, Helldivers 2 and Marvel Rivals. And I would like either of these to win. We already talked about Helldivers 2. We talked about Fortnite, we talked about Final Fantasy 14, we talked about No Man's Sky. Marvel Rivals, it's a fun evolution of Overwatch, and that kind of like 6v6 meta, even though Overwatch dropped to like 5v5. I think it's a it shows that games like Concord, they fail not because Overwatch is so dominant in this series, or that nobody else wants to play anything else, because Rivals has been eating Overwatch's lunch for a minute now. But it shows that you gotta have like interesting characters. You gotta have an evolution to the game. You gotta have some sort of a change and improvement, something that grabs the players, that Concord didn't have. And a lot of what Rivals is doing to grab you is it's going to grab you by the dick, and it's going to massage the fuck out of it, and it's going to throw too hard, because this is a gooner ass game ever I've seen one. And it's fair. Like I fucking there's some fucking hotties in that game. There's some people there. They're like, you know what? I want to play this game one handed for a minute. Don't at me. But I don't think it should win ongoing. I think when we're talking about ongoing games, really it should come down to Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and No Man's Sky. And as much as I don't want it, like, okay, I'm voting for Helldivers 2 because I want it to win. But I think is gonna win is gonna be Fortnite. Because Fortnite continues to expand, evolve, and explore new avenues and new things that it can do. So that's why it's my vote. Games for Impact, for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. Consume Me, Despelote, Lost Records, Bloomin' Rage, South of Midnight, and Wanderstop. It's interesting because I know only one of these games, and that is South of Midnight, which is the one I'm going to vote for. I would honestly love to be able to talk about more of these games. But I don't know anything about them, and I think for better or worse, that talks about the influence that South of Midnight had. Now it's a bit South of Midnight's a bit weird, right? Because it's Compulsion Games. I think they're located in Quebec. They're in Montreal. But it's a game about kind of like slavery in the South, in like Louisiana and Georgia and stuff. So it's a bit weird that like you have a bunch of French Canadians making a game about slavery. And South of Midnight might be a 100% playthrough, but there's a full playthrough of it up on the channel as well. One of the earlier games I played, actually, I think I beat it in 2 or 3 sittings, maybe 4. I definitely had some issues with some of the storytelling and some of the gameplay near the end. But overall, from a concept perspective, I really, really like it. I'm not going to talk about the other 4 because I don't have anything to say because I don't know anything. And we're already at an hour and a half. And I thought it was going to be like less than an hour. I thought it was going to be like not 30 minutes because I talk a lot and I have a lot of opinions on games. And there's 29 categories, but I thought we were going to be like an hour. But thankfully, we're getting near the end and we're getting to the games and the categories that I think matter the most, are the most interesting, and I've already covered previously. So, yay. Innovation and accessibility, recognizing software and hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. Learn about the nominees, because I don't know what they did. All right. All right. Atom Fall. This one. I don't like that this isn't in order that they were over there. Accessibility and date with built-in accessibility in mind. Make sure as many people as possible can access the game. Includes configurable text contrast and size. Nice. High contrast mode for gameplay. Optional audio cues for players with low vision, including a highly customizable audio-based first-person aiming system. That's really interesting. By design, the game is colorblind accessible by default. Uses unique and informative audio cues. Open the range of players through playstyle presets and customization. Okay. Oh my god, these. Why are these so small? They put so much stuff in here. Alright. Doom. Combat and difficulty is highly configurable with a variety of modifiers, including game speed in fine grain increments, any projectile speed, parry window, daze duration. Assets like shield throw, seeking, auto sprint, enhanced targeting, and empowered attacks. Digital accessibility was also a priority for id Software with gameplay high contrast settings that allow critical degrees of environment desaturation and color overlays. It provides digital hue and opacity, options for enemies, hazard, interactable, pickup attack, shield breakable. Okay. This works here with settings, parry, recolor. Okay. Assassin's Creed Shadows, embrace opportunities. The franchise first, like audio, describes cinematics, powerful remapping, allowing a choice of hold, press for each action. Really upgraded subtitles with better color modifications, speaker direction, conversation log, and speaker emotion tone tags. That's actually, this I think is really interesting as a concept because it's really easy to lose tone in emotion in text, and this is a great way to get around that. Screen narration, stealth difficulty, football club, high contrast mode, uh, uh, high contrast is about it. Two button mode, 1 and 2 button modes, analog sprint, south and midnight, line features a line of objective, configurable in length, uh, 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 flagship guiding strand, a flagship guiding strand feature. Right, a line to objectives configurable in length. Motherfucker, that shit was in Dead Space. Display time, camera shift to path, and audio beacons of volume and pitch options. Alongside this, the game supports information, haptic, and audio cues, menu narration, menu text, and HUD scaling. Large sizes, increasing accessibility, particularly for players with low vision. Motor disability is since been considered. Honestly, like kind of browsing all these, I think the most interesting one is Atom Fall. Um, taking so yeah, we're going with that one. I think all the other ones are okay, but because a lot of them are made by these massive studios, these are accessibility options that should be there by default. These are things that you should be able to almost at some point have a componentized engine or architecture where you can just drag and drop in things that will auto do this stuff for you, especially when it comes to like adding in a colorblind mode or changing some text. Like games have been around long enough and these big studios make enough money that as part of being released from a large scale studio, you should have a certain level of accessibility pre-baked in. Best performance. Here we are getting to the final ones where we start getting into like the oofs and the award to an individual for voice over acting, motion, and or performance capture. Ben Starr with Expedition 33, Scotty Cox for Expedition 33, Jennifer English for Expedition 33, Erika Ishii for Ghost of Yote, Kunatsu Kato for Silent Hill F, and Troy Baker for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. With that, I played all of these, including Silent Hill F. Also on the channel, my first actual Silent Hill game. All of these people could win. I believe Eric Ishii probably crushed in here as well. I just haven't played the game. I know Ben Starr won at the Golden Joystick. Absolutely deserved it. I believe he plays Verso, and Verso has such a great character arc and storytelling moments. And like when you go back and you look at stuff later in the game, and you realize that he's been like in your fucking face from the beginning, you're like, holy fucking shit. And he's so emotional, and the way he treats and interacts with every character feels unique and interesting. Charlie Cox as Gustav is such a great role for him, and like you feel that he's like, you know, that you feel his pain and his emotion and his hope for the future. Jennifer English plays Mael, and holy shit, does she go through so much. Um, it's honestly kind of mind blowing. Natsu Kato, who I believe probably voices the protagonist from Silent Hill F. I'm gonna guess in the Japanese version. Is great. I'm gonna double check that is her. We're going to go to IMDb. Oh, I just IMD. Uh, uh, Silent Hill F. Yep. Shimizu Hinako. Absolutely. Uh, was She's great. And then Troy Baker. Troy Baker made me believe that I actually was listening to like, and I mean this in legitimately the best way possible, an AI interpretation of Harrison Ford from the '80s. Like, if I close my eyes and you played some of the clips of when Troy Baker was like absolutely fucking nailing some of the yells that Indy does in this game, um, versus like a clip of the exact same yell from, or of a similar yell from like Raiders, The Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, or Last Crusade, I don't know if I could pick it out of the lineup. And that is such a phenomenal talent to be able to do that. Um, I believe that Ben Starr is going to win here. He won the gold joystick. I think it's absolutely deserved. Um, I would love to see Jennifer English or Konatsu win. I'm gonna actually vote for Konatsu. Um, it's probably one of the only times I'm not voting for an Expedition 33 person in a category that they are in. I want her to win. I feel that her performance in Silent Hill F took a game and took that game and made it so moving and made me, along with the story, made me question so many things that I was like throwing out conspiracy theories left and right, trying to figure out what was going on. And I think she played confusion, desperation, despair, sadness, hope, joy, elation, anguish, just and just like giving up, like just absolute, almost like a subservient attitude. She covered so many things. She did so well that I want her to win so bad, but I don't think she's going to. I think it's going to go to either Jennifer English for Mael or Ben Starr for So. But honestly, this is such a stacked roster that I think everybody up here could win and probably should win. Best audio design: Battlefield 6, Expedition 33, Death Stranding, Ghost of Yotei, Silent Hill F. Um, Recognizing the best in game audio and sound design. This one for me, again, it's Expedition 33. The I've added so many songs from the soundtrack to this to my like liked playlist just because um it like some of the stuff, especially in the context of the game, like it gave me goosebumps. And the way that I know that I wanted more and that I think it should win is I've only played two of the games on here, Silent Hill F and Expedition 33. But when I think about some of this stuff, especially like the audio design of Silent Hill F is great. Like it is gross, it is squelchy, it is wet, it is like visceral. And there's times where you're just like, I don't even want to go down there because it just ugh. Um, but then you get to like some of like the combat music, and you're like, oh, this isn't that like great. It kind of feels like I'm listening to just like a block sound wave. Um, I can't talk about these three, so I'm sorry, but I imagine if Ghost of Yote is music like Ghost of Tsushima, it is like instrumental and beautiful and something that I would like. If I'm just need to like center myself and close my eyes and relax for a minute, that's what I'm gonna put on. But if I want to feel like I am overcoming the greatest challenges, if I want to feel music that is gonna make me cry, that is gonna make me like feel that I am like, it's like Saving Private Ryan, and I'm like on the beach in Normandy, and I need to crawl another foot, another inch, another centimeter, if I'm just to like just to save like the world. That's what I'm putting on, um, and that is why I think that's why I'm voting for it, and that's why I think it's going to win. Best score in music. Hmm. Well, everything I just said goes applies here as well. Exact same thing. Um, so going back to thinking about audio design, I still hmm. Hmm. As you can tell, I didn't look at all the categories beforehand. Otherwise, everything I just said here, I would have applied to the other one. So if we're talking about in-game audio and sound design, let me think about it. Because if that's the case, then I'm actually going for Silent Hill F. Everything I said for before. This game is gross. It is wet. It is squelchy. It is meaty. It is like, ugh. And I think they did a great job with it. I still think Expedition 33 is going to win. Everything I said for it apply to here with score and music. I don't think any of these other games are even going to come close. I think Expedition is going to win. I think that it probably deserves to win. Silksong had some great music. I assume Darren Korb's Hades 2 is great because Darren Korb's done, I think, all the Supergiant games, and that he crushes it every single time. Like, not a doubt in my mind. Again, when we're talking about Bastion and Transistor, he did those. Hauntingly beautiful, soulful. Ghost Yote, again, with Toma Otoa. Probably be something that if I'm stressed and I need to just kind of relax my mind and just kind of get away for a minute, I'd put that on. Woodkid and Ludwig Forsil probably crush it here. I know. But Lorian Tessard, I hope I said your name right. My guy. Oh, my dude. You, who? Who? All I gotta say. Who? Best art direction for standing creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. This. I know that like some of the animations that they have in here um are such like we're not even getting to like the full overall art direction, but just the animations are so great and smooth, and like they pause when they need to pause and they hit when they need to hit. It feels a lot like the first time I watched. This is again. When I talk about these two, because I'm gonna see these. I believe I'm gonna see these these 5 games and a lot of these upcoming ones because we're at like the big boy categories now. Um, uh, but yeah, a lot of the stuff that kind of hits in Expedition 33 feels a lot like, and it gives me the same vibes when I first watched Into the Spider Verse, where it's got like variable frame rates, and it's kind of choppy, but it's all intentional. That's what I get from Expedition 33. Um, this world is somehow broken and destroyed, and but cohesive, where it all feels like it fits together. Even when you have, you know, giant floral pieces and like those wooden pose dolls, next to a broken Eiffel Tower, and all of it works, and all of it makes sense. And you don't even question it as soon as you're in there. And the way they did the Thanos snap, right, with the Gomage, is it's so beautiful, and it takes such a horrendous, really like horrific event, and it makes it celebratory and just wonderful. Best narrative, outstanding narrative, storytelling, and narrative development in the game. Again, Expedition 33. I can't get too much into it because if you haven't played the game, go watch something. If you want it again, full gameplay, full 100% playthrough is up on the channel. It will keep you busy for a long fucking time. But without getting too much into kind of the spoilery stuff, there's like twists in this game that I didn't see coming. Some I did, some I didn't, but like even the ones they didn't hit the way I thought they would. Destiny 2, man, if you like, weird baby stuff and weird shit, this is gonna be it, right? This is another one. Like I said before, if you're a Kojima stan, and his games hit for you, it's gonna hit for you in a way that like nothing else will even come close. Ghost of Yote, I really wish I knew more about this game. I think one of the problems is like I didn't hear too much about it, and I don't know why. Like I hope it's not because it has a female protagonist, because if it is, it's bullshit. I'm hoping that it's just kind of got swept up with all these other games that came out, and it just kind of missed my algorithm. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, another game I'm not hearing a lot of people talk about. Silent Hill F. This I legitimately, if this was any other year and Expedition 33 wasn't here, I would pick this in a heartbeat because I loved the story of Silent Hill F. I thought that it kept me invested and guessing, and I even up until the very end, I don't think I think I was still throwing out guesses and they were mostly wrong, which is how to me a story is great because it means that I can't even tell what's coming up next. And I've seen a lot of movies and I play a lot of games, and so you see a lot of similar tropes. And some of the tropes that I saw in Expedition 33 weren't here in Silent Hill F, and that to me is great. Um, but I think the only kind of problem that I have, and the reason why I'm honestly not voting for it, is because if you want the full story, the full narrative, the full experience of Silent Hill F, you gotta play the game. You gotta do like 4 or 5 playthroughs um, to get like all these different endings, and that is the only reason why I'm not voting for it, is because that is a lot of investment and a lot of repeat content. Um, Whereas with Expedition 33, you can get the narrative. You can get the narrative is the same from beginning to end, with the exception of there's a split at the end, but you very clearly have a save point, and it makes it super accessible to say once you get to see one branch, you get to see the other branch, and you're good. Um, and so I think that helps with Expedition 33. But this Silent Hill F is such a good story. I know a lot of people had a hard time getting past the combat, and Silent Hill's never been known for the combat. But I thought the story for this game was fucking best game direction. Awarded for outstanding creative vision, innovation in game direction and design. This one, honestly, voting for Expedition 33, I think it's going to win. We'll go over everything kind of at the end. And I think I forgot to even, but like, I think narrative Expedition 33 is going to win. Art direction, I think Expedition 33 is going to win. Score on music, I think Expedition 33 is going to win. Audio design, I think Expedition 33 is going to win, but I'm voting for this. I think it's probably as far back as I missed, so we're going to get all the way back up to where I am. Game direction, outstanding creative vision, innovation, game direction, design. I honestly feel like I want Expedition 33 to win. I think it can win, but and honestly, I don't really want this to win. I think Kojima games, it can be. I know Jeff Keighley probably pushing for this real hard, and that's fine. Um, but I really want either Expedition 33 or Split Fiction. I think Split Fiction, if it wins, it should win base. It could win based off of the final segment alone, and I would be perfectly okay with that. Expedition 33, though, I just think is such a cohesive vision all the way through, and it all feels new and unique and fun and exciting. And every time you go to something new, it makes you want to know more. And the one negative thing I can say about Split Fiction is that it is a game of homages. It has so many lovingly crafted homages to other classic tropes and storytelling and other video games that most of them don't feel new and unique until you get to the end and you get to see it all remixed. And then the big boy, Game of the Year, where surprisingly, someone's are in here. Like I wasn't expecting Donkey Kong Bonanza to be in here. Um, Obviously, I was expecting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because these kind of 5 have been in a lot. This is a bit weird. I think this is going to win. It won Golden Joystick. I I wanted to make the video before Golden Joystick, but I just didn't have time. It would have been my vote back then. It's my vote now. It's the only game on here that I 100%ed. It's also one of the only 2 games on here that I played. But right, recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. I think Death Stranding 2 is probably really fun. Again, if you're a Kojima fan, you're going to be voting for this, and I do not blame you. Donkey Kong Bonanza, I think, is an excellent improvement and evolution of the Donkey Kong games, taking them back to 3D, adding in that kind of Mario Odyssey element. Very much loved it. Hades 2, again, an evolution of the Hades series, which is already a great game, and it's just bigger and better. Silk Song, like Team Cherry crushed it with the game. Just fuck everything from price to difficulty. I think is really really good, and gameplay is really really fun. And Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, so I could talk about it. I don't know shit about it, but I feel like out of all of these, this game I just don't hear enough about. This game, I feel like the difficulty at the end is high enough that I could see people dropping out before finishing it, because it can be really really hard, and it can be really frustrating where like just like 2 seconds of mistakes and like you've lost like a critical boss fight. Hades 2, I think is probably a great game. I don't have anything really to say about it. In Donkey Kong Bonanza, really fun, but I don't think, like, when you look at kind of like the big hitters, I don't think this is going to be up there. I think it was really fun. I think it had a big flash, but I just don't think it's got the staying power. Stranding, man, if you're a Strand fan, you're a Kojima nerd, I understand. But me, I'm an expedition boy. I love everything about it. I even did I 100% the game. I got character level 99. I did all the hidden bosses. I just think it's a game that it wasn't anticipated, it wasn't expected, and it delivered everything it needed to and more. And I have nothing but happiness and good words for the people over at Sandfall. There we go. That is all of it. Every category voted for, everybody that I said I think will win, everything I want to win. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if we'll do like a follow-up kind of reaction video to the awards. I know we're not gonna do them live. I'm not gonna watch them live. Maybe in the future we will, if we get bigger, we get more people here. Maybe kind of fun to hang out, kind of like the Oscars, and do like a watch party. But for now, see how this does. How about that? It'll be the first test. We'll see how it goes, and then from there we can adjust and get better from here. But that's it. We're at 2 hours. This is literally double the length of what I want it to be. So if you stuck around for it, fucking good on you. I appreciate you. I didn't expect it to be this long, and yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I gotta get dinner. I gotta stream later tonight, and I got people to respond to. So, fuck. Anyways, I'm out of here. Thank you very much for hanging out. I appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you want and what you think of the Game Awards. Let me know what you think of my choices too. I know I dick rode Expedition 33 really hard, but I love the game. That was phenomenal. That was great. So yeah, if I remember right, and this is more of a message to future me, hopefully remember, I'm gonna try and link the playlists to the games that I played in the description of the video. So if you do want to see them, they'll be there, and I'll try to pin it in the top comment. But I made no promises. If I don't do it, let me know, yell at me, and then I'll make sure to go back and do it. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. Bye.